and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. You're watching Encounter. Today we have Dr. Rohit Bartake, who is from India, and you are a specialist in Ayurveda. You're a doctor in Ayurveda. A very warm welcome to you, and thank you for being here with us in the studios of the MBC.
Thank you, Roshan, for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here.
And you're also a practitioner, a facilitator, and a teacher for transcendental meditation. It is a topic that we have covered in one of the previous episodes of Encounter. So, Dr. Rohit, how long have you been in Mauritius? And you're a doctor in Ayurveda.
As you know, I'm registered with the Traditional Board of Medicine in Mauritius and in India. And also, I'm registered with the Maharishi College of Perfect Health, Netherlands, to practice Maharishi Ayurveda globally.
Maharishi Perfect Health. We will talk about this in more details later in this interview.
Yeah.
But let us start with a broad definition of what is Ayurveda for our viewers who are not very familiar with it. Of course, Ayurveda is Ayur and Veda. Can you give us a little bit more details about it?
As you rightly said, Ayurveda, it's a Sanskrit word. So you can break up into two, Ayu, Ayush, and Veda. In English, we can say life. And Veda is pure science, pure knowledge. So knowledge about life is Ayurveda. So, but Ayurveda, the speciality of Ayurveda is that it deals with health, that is wellness, and illness together. So health in totality.
What is the difference between biology, which is the study of the physical body, and Ayurveda, which you mentioned is the study of life? Because biology is life, right?
Yes. In biology, when we go through, when you dissect the human body, you go through different, we call it what we see with our naked eyes or with microscope, what we see in front of us. We call it pratyaksha, or what can be seen. That is how biology works. Okay? It could be with a microscope or it could be in general. But Ayurveda works on a different fundamentals. These fundamentals of Ayurveda are not necessarily visible. So Ayurveda has its own physiology. It looks towards human body in a different perspective. Obviously, an Ayurvedic doctor has to know the anatomy and the biology very well, but then he wears the glasses of Ayurveda from where he looks to the body in a different way.
How long has Ayurveda been around?
Ayurveda has been around. The latest books which we use, which we refer in Ayurveda, the most oldest among them is Charak Samhita, which is approximately, now they have researched, it's 5,000 years old. And you will be surprised to know, Roshan, that the diseases which we see nowadays, which come up as new diseases, we see a lot of relevance with the mentions in these classical texts. And modern medicine, as you know, is 120, 150 years old.
Yes.
But it is always evolving. But what is happening is, the more it is evolving, the more closer it is coming to Ayurveda.
So the more it's evolving towards the source of where it came from.
More evolving to the source, and you will be surprised to know, in Ayurveda, in Charak Samhita, it has been mentioned in the section of diabetes, which is called prameha. They say that the approach should be in two ways. You cannot give the same line of treatment to the lean person like an obese person. So you can see the correlation with the most ancient, with the most modern, current modern research.
You have many people, of course, coming to see you, and Ayurveda is becoming more and more popular. Again, I will say because of COVID, and people are facing more and more difficulties, whether it is physically or mentally. I ask this to all my guests. What have been the most recent findings that you have encountered in Mauritius recently?
If you say in terms of mental health, surely, as you rightly mentioned, that COVID has had an impact majorly on the mental health of people. And you know, according to Ayurveda, the human body is actually interconnected. The mind and body are not different entities. Ayurveda always believed in the existence of mind, man. And if the mind is not settled, if the mind is not in a bliss state, which is the essential nature of life, bliss consciousness, if mind is not experiencing that bliss, then the physical body starts getting affected. So what modern medicines has now recently discovered that 80% diseases which human being suffers, they are psychosomatic.
So it's in the head.
It starts with the mind. They start with the mind, and if they are not eliminated by at the level of mind, then they percolate deep into the level of body. So all these NCDs which we talk about, they start at the level of mind. So you can say stress, tension, anxiety, any emotion which is going out of control. It could be grief, it could be anger, it could be jealousy. Any emotions which a human being deals with, if they go out of board, then they start percolating at the level of physical body, and we start experiencing a disease. Ayurveda believed this thousands of years ago, that mind and body are related. Now the modern medicine has accepted finally. You will be surprised to know that stress, only stress can increase your cholesterol. So
Okay.
this is how deep impact the mind can have on your physical body.
Because they say that, I wouldn't say oil, but ghee is very good for your body.
Yeah. So ghee is a very pure form, and even only the ghee which has been prepared traditionally with a proper procedure, and we call it Agni Sanskar, proper heating procedure.
Yes.
The ghee which we see in the market today
It's commercial.
it's commercial, and it's produced in a huge quantities. So there are machines where you just put the milk and then you get the ghee at the end as an end product. And I'll show you the difference.
It looks like the traditional one, but it's not the traditional.
It's not the traditional. It
No.
looks like ghee.
Yeah.
Like, let me tell you about the yield. If you're putting 10 liters of milk, you can get 8 kg of ghee out of it in a modern way. But if you're doing it in a traditional way, 10 liters can give you maximum 2 to 2.5 kg of ghee when it goes through all the procedures which are to be done. So this is how the impact is different. So this traditionally made ghee surely is very nourishing, and it enhances the ojas. And ojas, I would like to talk more about ojas because you talked about immune system. The 7 tissues which we have in our body, it is the essence of what we eat. The essence of what is the final formation of from what we eat is ojas, and it happens at every tissue level. This ojas is directly connected to our immune system. So ghee can actually boost our immune system very nicely if prepared in a good way.
Oh, fantastic, Dr. Rohit. Anyway, we'll continue with this discussion. We'll talk more about Ayurveda and also perfect health. But we'll take a short break right now. We will invite the viewers and also yourself to have a look at this small report, a short report on the various aspects of Ayurveda. Ayurveda has a rich history that was recorded more than 5,000 years ago in Sanskrit in 4 sacred texts called the Vedas, the Rig Veda, the Ayurveda, Samveda, and Atharva Veda. Ayurvedic medicine was initially shared as an oral tradition. The theory states that all areas of life impact one's health, so it follows that the Vedas cover a wide variety of topics, including health and healthcare techniques, astrology, spirituality, government and politics, art, and human behavior. Ayurvedic medical books available by the 8th century provide not only procedural instructions but also a history of how Ayurvedic medicine evolved over time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're still watching Encounter, and Dr. Rohit is still with us in the studio. We're talking about Ayurveda and the various aspects of it. Dr. Rohit, why should a person come see you as an Ayurvedic specialist?
This is a very good question. I would emphasize that every person, whenever he hears the word Ayurveda or he knows there is an Ayurvedic doctor nearby, should go and meet his physician who is an Ayurveda specialist for 2 reasons. One, to know their own self properly, to know their body type, to know what are the trends that could go on with their constitution, the type of constitution they are born with. And you will be happy to know that this constitution comes from our parents. There are many factors which decide our body type. It is decided when we are born, and it remains with us till the end.
It's genetics? Is it genetics?
Yeah, it has gone down up to genetics.
Okay.
It has gone down up to genetics. And it has been seen that there is a particular pattern that a person lives, his behavior, his food habits, his sleeping habits, and also the disease pattern is very peculiar. So, why do we know our body type, or we call it as prakriti or body type? Once we know our body type, the physician tries to examine you in three different ways. One, it's called darshan, that is looking at you as at your structure. Sparshan, by taking the pulse, understanding the rhythm of the pulse. And the third is prashna. There are certain questions which could be asked by the physician, and then he finally concludes your body type. Once we know our body type, then the physician tells us that what kind of lifestyle should be followed by us, what kind of food habits we should follow, so that we can prevent the diseases, we can prevent the danger that could come in future. So this is prevention is a very big, what we can say, boon of Ayurveda, and understanding our own self helps us to get ahead with knowing us ourselves more.
So answering the first part of the question and explaining this, you answer the second part of the question. What happens when someone comes to see you?
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, someone walks into the clinic with and meets an Ayurvedic physician. The physician will first, as I said, he will try to find the body type. Every person is born with all the three, what we can say, functional units, but there could be a predominance of either of them in an individual, and that's what decides your body type.
Okay.
A person may have more of transforming energy, so he will be doing things, activities very fast, thinking very fast, forgetting very fast. He will be very thin, slim. So this person is a vata predominant person. The second person is pitta predominant, where he cannot bear hunger. He cannot stay without food. He cannot skip meals easily. He can lose weight very easily, and he can get angry very easily. The bowels are little weak, so there could be diarrhea very easily. So there are certain peculiar characteristics of a pitta predominant person. Then comes the kapha. And by the way, kapha people, the people who have the more calm and composed way of living, they are very relaxed, easygoing. These people are very intelligent. This is supposed to be the best body type. So people having more of binding entity, everything happening very relaxed in the tune of with the nature. So we have to understand which we belong to.
Is there a balance of which type of bodies is ideal for everyone, or
Yeah.
it's already predetermined and you have to work towards it?
No, the thing is, once we know that, okay, I have vata predominant and pitta and kapha are little less, then the whole lifestyle, the whole habits should be to bring all the three in balance. This is the purpose of Ayurveda,
Okay.
to get all the humors, whole body functioning and maintaining the balance.
So when a person comes to see you, you identify the body type,
Yeah.
and then you also try to find the balance between the three body types,
Yeah,
and you
because-
give them advice on how to balance it.
Yeah, there are two entities. One is the body type. But if a healthy person comes to me, I identify the body type, I can give him some good things to follow. But when I see the pulse examination called Nadi Pariksha, it helps us to know the current state of the doshas in the body.
Okay.
There could be some imbalance in the doshas, and we diagnose it with the pulse. Once we know the imbalance, then the whole prescription is based on how to balance those imbalances.
You said you check the pulse is like a stethoscope that you have through your fingers, and how do you do that?
You know, this is a very ancient science called Nadi Pariksha.
We had a program on this in one of the previous encounters where a pulse reader had come in. So it's a technique that's
It's
like 4,000-5,000 years old from South India.
Yeah, no, it's whole of India. Ayurveda belongs to the whole of
Of course, of
Ved,
course.
Bhumi, Bharat. We call whole
Okay.
of India. Ved,
Okay.
it's a land of Vedas. So you can see it in all the pockets of the country. But yeah, this is a science. Like, you know, if you go to buy coconut, if you go buy a coconut, and you in India it is like this. Even in Mauritius, I have seen. You ask the guy that, you know, I want coconut, but only water. I don't want flesh.
They will know exactly
He
which
will
one to
just
give
take
you.
it. He will do some percussion,
Yeah.
and he will tell you, oh, this is only water. Have this. And if you say, oh, I want some flesh, some
Yeah, some
malai,
cream, yeah.
then cream, then he will say, okay. He will knock it. This is the same science.
Yes.
A coconut seller can diagnose it the same way. The Ayurvedic Vaidya is also trained is finding the imbalance. He just listens to the pulsations, vibrations of all these three humors, and then understanding them, it's a very deep science where we can find specific imbalances in the body.
Do you have any doubts in your mind that when a person goes to see an Ayurveda doctor and his body type is identified and he receives advice from the doctor on how to improve his lifestyle, does this help him in terms of his balance, stress, anxiety, going better with life, better decisions? Uh, you are probably the example of it. Do you have any doubts on this?
There is absolutely no doubt. Actually, the very purpose of going through this procedure, as I mentioned earlier, every individual should know his body type. Why I said that? Knowing your body type and then following this routine actually helps you to get into a balanced state, and you stay away from all the things which you talked. You will be away, all the stresses will be eliminated. You will not gather any diseases. Even you will be surprised to know you can postpone your hereditary diseases by 10, 15, 20 years by getting
Okay.
into a good routine.
Okay, okay. Do you mean to say that it helps a person better understand his body at a physical level and mental level?
Yeah. And the more you understand yourself, the more you can actually cater your needs and enjoy your life.
And you become more accepting of who you are, so that you become more proactive of what you want in life also.
And the life becomes easy. Once you get in tune with nature, see, knowing your body type allows you to balance your doshas and get in tune with the nature. Once you are in tune with nature, the nature knows what is good for you, and you are at the mercy of the nature, and the nature makes your life more easy. Things start becoming easy for you.
Would you say your life is easier?
The essential nature of life is bliss. What we have seen now for many, many years, that we think that suffering is a part of life. But I am, as you said earlier, that I am a teacher of transcendental meditation. So Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who is a scientist of this modern age, he got all the Vedic sciences from India, and he got them researched in the light of modern science. And what has come out of it is that if we start following this, what we can say, way of living, the Vedic way of living, which means following your daily routine, connecting ourselves with the nature, as we said, the dinacharya, the daily routine, seasonal routine, cosmic routine, this allows us to become more happy and healthy and to actually enjoy our life. Otherwise, we are more suffering. This problem, that problem, this pill for this problem. All these things will be avoided if we start getting into tune with nature.
So it's a guarantee for progression in life.
It has been validated for thousands of years. And even today, there are many modern researchers. Let me tell you one simple example. Day before yesterday, I read a research in United Kingdom, in one of the top laboratories. They have found out for COVID-19 that they are using some nasal sprays. And now they have seen that if you just use that nasal spray, iodine or some nasal spray they are talking about, then it allows to kill the virus in the nose itself. It doesn't allow it to go deep inside. So you will be amazed to know, nasya, like putting medicated oil drops in the nose, is a part of daily routine in Ayurveda. So you have some medicated oil, morning and evening before bed and morning when you wake up, you put few drops in your nose. This makes the mucosa of the nose medicated. And now when you go into even if you're exposed to a virus situation, when the virus entering the nose, they now know that it remains in the nose for 10 days, it can incubate in the nose, even in the carrier, it remains in the nose.
Yes.
So if it is medicated, it will kill itself there. So Ayurveda said nasya should be a part of daily routine. And with COVID-19, it seems to be now validated that if you are doing nasya, there are less chances you will contact COVID-19.
How the studies about perfect health by Maharishi, how long has it been around?
Maharishi started his teachings in the world in 1958. He started by teaching transcendental meditation globally. Gradually, it has been reached in 150 countries of the world. In in 1985, Maharishi thought of reviving Ayurveda. What he did was, he got the best experts of Ayurveda from India to Switzerland, which was his headquarters at that time, and he got the best modern physicians from all the developed countries of the world. He had conferences with the Ayurvedic doctors and the modern doctors and a lot of brainstorming. And they have come up with a very refined form of Ayurveda, which is called as Maharishi Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, if you say, it has been very diluted, distorted. Any person walking on the street can say, oh, I know about Ayurveda, oh, this is Ayurvedic. But ideally, it's very, very dilute now. So if you really want to know Ayurveda, if you really want to get the benefit of Ayurveda, Maharishi thought of it and he made it more refined. So now we have something called as Maharishi Ayurveda, and it is now taught in all the top universities of the world. And there are modern doctors now who are MD physicians. They are training in Ayurveda, because what is coming up in the world now is integrated medicine. And this was Maharishi's vision. He said, integrated medicine is the future of the coming generations. You have to take the best of the past and the best of the future and integrate it together and use whatever is necessary at that given situation.
Just before ending this recording, we have spoken a lot about an individual level, but I have a feeling that it also works at a corporate level, especially with COVID-19 doing so much damage at the corporate level. I have a feeling that Ayurveda also would be very helpful at this level.
See, there are many corporates globally. They organize these lectures on Ayurveda for people to understand what kind of food and routine they must be following, what kind of food they must be eating. And there are corporate programs with transcendental meditation also, where the employees, they come to the office, they meditate, and before going home, they meditate. At the same time, they are given the knowledge about strengthening their immune system following the basics of Ayurveda.
That sounds like an athlete preparing for a race.
Yeah. The life is a game.
Different approach, but
the life
same
is
concept.
a game, and we should always be winning the race of life.
Fantastic.
And that's healthy life.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rohit.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this episode of Encounter. Thank you very much for being with us. If you have any questions or queries on the guest, Dr. Rohit here, or on the topic that was discussed, drop an email. It's encounter@mbc.itnet.mu. And also, if you have any proposals for any next recordings, also drop an email. Until the very next program, goodbye.